My name is Arvin, and I am on a journey to bring my life, my goals to life. And this channel serves as my expression board for that. Although I have many goals, two that I share about on this channel are me trying to make $1 million in 5 years. And I'm realizing I don't just care about money. You could be miserable with money. So I've added on to that doing the thing that I love. And there are nuances to that, but ultimately it is to make a woodworking business good enough to be able to support myself. How and why did I decide to make this goal? That's a really good question. I've always been goal oriented, and 57 weeks ago I made this goal very specific. I was getting paid $20 an hour and could not even afford my rent in this town. And I had it. So I quit my job. I moved out of the place. I took out a loan to live in the place that I'm living. I created a creative living environment. Basically, I sublease to make rent affordable for me. And I started pursuing the things that I loved, which was woodworking. And that's awesome. I'm glad that I took that step. However, I stayed really broke. 5 weeks ago, I was near $3,000 in credit card debt, not to mention student loans. We're not even going to talk about that yet. But I was so stressed. And even though I was pursuing the things that I love, like the stress of not having the money and not knowing if you're going to be able to pay like rent is real. So I took on a sales job, and now I have $3,255. To some of you guys watching, maybe that's a lot. To some of you guys watching, you're like, dang, this guy's still really broke after a whole year. And both of you guys, from a certain perspective, are right. But that has made me like sort of reorient myself a little bit. That experience, like getting into this sales. So my reorientation is kind of like me deciding that I need to make money first. Because having high stress and no money, I mean, it diminishes my creativity. And if I'm on the edge all the time like that, it's just not going to work. And also, as someone who really does, at least at my current like perspective, I want to be a business owner. I want to create beautiful things and give them to people. And obviously I have to be able to survive off of that. So that means, you're going to have to pay for those things. But the first step is making money. And I'm going to be learning about sales. Obviously, like I'm selling things, and I've already learned so much. If you're a frequent watcher, maybe you notice that I'm a little bit more enthusiastic. And I've been practicing that for 5 weeks now. It's not easy. The first time I tried to sell a window, I was like this, and by continuing to try and practice the enthusiasm, it's like, it's a real skill and almost like emotion that I'm learning, which is really cool. Noticing that I can bring that to myself and see that reflected in other people. And so sales is a key thing that I will be learning and bring that to my woodworking. But also the sales does allow me to make money. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my vision and plan. It's fluid to some extent if you guys have been watching, but it's still important to have that structure. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that. The first step for me is to create a financial cushion. There's so much things that I want to buy, like woodworking things. My computer is old, and so it doesn't work very well for like 3D modeling. Like I can hardly edit a video. It's getting, old in the age of AI especially. It's from 2019. So my goal is not to just buy all these things. I could list a whole bunch of things I want, but it is to create a financial buffer, which is $10,000. And after that buffer, I will use my money to buy a new computer, probably a new phone. This one's also like pretty old and glitchy, but a new computer. That's the first thing, and there's more, but then I can start 3D modeling. There's a lineup of toys that I want to make out of wood, which I'm passionate about, as well as a speaker system I want to be able to 3D model so that I can produce it at at a scale that will allow, you know, people to be able to buy it for a price that makes sense. And yeah, for right now, those are the two goals: get that money and get those tools. And we'll see how long that takes. Another goal is to continue this job. It hurts me to try to decide because it's not my favorite thing in the world, let's be honest. I don't love going door to door selling windows. But there's a lot of potential, and I will for sure do this for another month. And I want to do it to the end of the year, give it everything that I got. And having that specific focus, like blot out the rest, you're focusing on creating a platform from where you can make your goals come true. That's what I'm doing. And there's a couple things that I can do to make that happen. I have a ton of goals and I shoot at them, but like, what are the specifics that I do to make that happen? You know, like, I want to get more specific. And so one of those things is every morning I am committed to creating a routine that puts myself in the best position, which means exercise, meditation, as well as practicing my like pitch or whatever you want to call it for selling these windows. If you stayed this long, thank you. Please like and subscribe, helps me out a ton. And watch me bring this goal to life. Watch me do it. Peace.